Good morning, sir. My name is Aryan Shrestha, and I will be presenting about the 70% individual coursework of the module Financial Decision Making. So, these are the agendas for today's presentation. We will go one after another as we proceed. First of all, let me give you a brief summary of the findings that I made and about the company itself. So there's this Summit Trials Corporation company, which is a premier provider of luxury Himalayan expeditions, and it has introduced an exclusive travel package designed for high net worth clients. So a detailed financial analysis has been conducted to assess the feasibility of the project, and it was focused on its profitability, investment recovery, and the overall financial sustainability. Next slide. It's key financial metrics that I have calculated. So as you can see on your screen, the WACC weighted average cost of capital was 7.14%, and we were also told to consider weighted average cost of capital of 18%, and then we will later compare the projects and then come to the conclusion whether this new travel package is worth it or not. And we also can see the net present value NPV values at different discount rates, and this is the a recommendation that was made. But let me give you a detailed walkthrough of how I came to this conclusion. So to begin with, this is the company overview. Summit Trials, it specializes in tailor-made luxury travel experiences, particularly in the Himalayan region. So it has a strong reputation for its exceptional service. The company caters to high net worth clients, and it is seeking exclusive and adventurous gateways. So, as part of this new package, there are three main attractive features that it is featuring. First is helicopter tours, where clients get to experience breathtaking views and access remote scenic destinations. Second, premium accommodation, and clients will be staying in a carefully curated high-end lodgings. And third, a very customized, personalized, client-centric travel flexibility packages. So first of all, let's begin with what WACC stands for. It stands for weighted average cost of capital. It is a financial metric that shows the average cost of companies' funding, whether it comes from borrowing, that is debt, or the shareholders, which is equity. To simply put, it is the minimum return a company needs to generate from its projects or investments to satisfy both its lenders and its shareholders. So, a company basically raises money in two different ways. First, equity. So, money in this case is raised from the shareholders in exchange for ownership. So, uh, if for a particular project they are willing to invest some money, then in return they um, expect a particular ownership over that money. And second method is debt. So it is more like borrowing a money like from the bank. So WACC combines the costs of both of these sources, weighted by how much of each the company uses. So, for example, 10% of WACC, what does that mean? If so, it means that the company needs to earn at least 10% of the money invested by the investors or the loan givers. Uh, that's the whole concept of WACC. So, why do we need it? First, decision making. It helps companies decide whether an investment is worth it or not. If a project return is higher than WACC, it is a good investment. Second, fair comparison. It considers both debt and equity costs, making it a fair benchmark for evaluating projects. Third, risk measurement. WACC reflects the risk of a company's operations. Higher WACC means higher risk. Lenders and shareholders expect more return in such cases. So how do we calculate WACC? First, we calculate cost of equity. Cost of equity, how do we calculate it? So we have a current market price of a particular share, and we also calculate the dividend. Dividend is the profit that is distributed to the debt givers, or to the or by the borrowers. So we have this formula: expected dividend by market price per share. So according to question, it was 20p per share, so we have kept it 0.2 pounds, and the current market price of the share is 3 pounds. So according to formula, and we get the current cost of equity 6.67%, and cost of debt. So since we have interest of 10%, and we know that the interest, uh, when we have interest, it is tax deductible. So we have the formula: I by market value of the share times 1 minus tax rate. So by putting it into formula, we have cost of debt, right? And then the market value of equity. So we have a particular number of shares. For this question, we have 3 million shares. So we divide that number by the particular price of a share, we get the market value of the equity. And then we calculate the total market value by adding the number of the market value of equity plus the total amount of loan that we have taken. So it brings the total market value to 12,600,000. And then we calculate the weight of equity by dividing the market value of equity by total market value. As you can see on your screen, we have 71.43%, and we have weight of debt, which is 28.57%. And according to this formula, we calculated 7.14%. So what does that mean? So the project needs to make at least 7.14% of the money invested by the investors, just so that project will be viable to conduct. And um, projected cash flow. So in this coursework, we are purchasing a particular helicopter, and it will take an initial investment of $5 million, which is in the 0 year, right? And we have a working capital of 1 million, which will be the operating cost of uh, that helicopter, and we have spent 50,000 for the research of creating this package. And we have, and as you can see, there is a bracket, the values are kept in. It's because these are the amount that will be deductible, right? So for year one, we are projecting 200 clients, and we are charging basically 25,000 for each client. So for year one, how do what will be our total income would be by multiplying number of client times charge per client. So 5 million in the total income for year one. And as we can see, the in first year we have 5 million in total income, and the maximum value, maximum income we are making through this package is on the year third, which is 8,800,000, right? So, and also the variable cost. The variable cost, I have make certain notes regarding the what are included in that variable cost. Let me get a walkthrough of it. So for variable cost, we have all the food, accommodation, and transportation facilities for a particular client to create that package, right? And that will be the variable cost. Um, and then marketing cost, it marketing cost will be 500,000 on an annual basis. And we have, since we have purchased the helicopter, we have also have hired pilot, and his salary will be 100,000 for year one, and it will increase by 2% every year. So fixed cost, we have, so we have calculated fixed cost. such that, and we have depreciation, which is so how do we calculate it, the depreciation? So initially we bought the helicopter for $5 million, and since it was told that it will have a service life of 7 years, so and considering the residual value of the helicopter is $200,000, so we added $5 million um, its residual value, and will be dividing by 7 because the service life is of 7 years, and the value we get is the depreciation value. So on an annual basis, the helicopter value will depreciate by 685,715 pounds on an annual basis. So there is no growth rate, so it's a constant depreciation. And we have added the, as we can see on the EBIT section, and we also have to pay the tax, which, and we have the corporate tax of 25%, and then the the f- the projected value for the first year is 1,435,714 cash. And as you can see here, we have working capital release and salvage value. So since we have invested $1 million at the beginning of the year zero, it will be released at the end of the package year, because for example, if we have invested in any kinds of stock, and at the end of the time, the company would want to sell its stocks, right? So we have released this amount and salvage value. And what this salvage value means is that, so initially we had $5 million, and then we had 5 years of constant depreciation, and we have put it into factor and subtracted the uh, total depreciation for 5 consecutive years amount by the $5 million, and that will be our salvage value, right? So, in year one, we have approximately 1.44 pounds as a net cash flow. In the year five, it has increased to around 3.36 million pounds to the net cash flow. And throughout the period, we maintained positive annual cash flows, and which was crucial for the project's feasibility. So, and net present value and payback period using calculated WACC. So, using our calculated WACC of 7.14%, we assess the investment via net present value, NPV, and payback period. So, we discount each year's net cash flow at 7.14% and sum the present values. Total present value of the cash flows, as you can see on your screen, is 8.84 million pounds. The initial investment was 6.05 million in pounds, and the resulting NPV was 2.79 million in pounds, and sometimes rounded to 2.93 million in other examples. Um, a positive NPV shows that the project creates value above the cost of capital. And talking about the payback period, simple payback was 3 years, and the discounted payback, factoring in the time value of money at 7.14%, it was 3 years and 8 months. So, this discounted payback tells us when we effectively recover our. So, this discount payback tells us when we effectively recover our initial outlay in present value terms. So, because the NPV is positive and the discounted payback period is reasonable, the project is financially attractive under our WACC scenario. So we also evaluate the project under a previous WACC of 18%, which is a much higher cost of capital. So NPV, we have total present value of cash flows 6.57 million pounds, initial investment 6.05 million, and the resulting NPV is 519k. Although it is still positive, this NPV is much lower than the 7.114% scenario, indicating the indicate and this indicates that the project is less lucrative if capital is more expensive. At 18% discount, the payback period stretches to 4 years 7 months. This means a slower recovery of initial investment when the discount rate is higher. So even with the high 18% discount rate, the project remains profitable, but the margin of attractiveness is clearly reduced. So now I will talk about investment appraisal techniques. First, internal rate of return, IRR. So by definition, the IRR is the discount rate at which a project's net present value, NPV, equals zero, indicating its expected rate of return. It has several advantages. First, it is easy to interpret. It provides a clear comparison with the required return or cost of capital. Second, supports decision making. So projects with IRR above the cost of capital, these are considered viable. And third, it considers time value of money. Similar to NPV, it accounts for cash flow timing. There are also some limitations in IRR. And first, it is unconventional cash flows can create multiple or no IRRs, and unrealistic reinvestment assumption. So it assumes reinvestment at IRR, which may not be practical, misleading for project comparisons. It may produce incorrect conclusions when evaluating projects with different scales or timelines. Second, discounted payback period. So DPP, it measures the time required to recover the initial investment, factoring in the time value of money, right? So advantages. So it incorporates time value of money. So more accurate than the it is more accurate than the basic payback period. It assesses risk. It highlights how fast profitability is achieved. Straightforward. It provides a clear timeline for investment recovery. Limitations: ignores post payback profits. It overlooks long term earnings, focuses on recovery, not overall profitability. So it does not evaluate total project value. Short term focus. So it prioritizes quick recovery over long term financial stability. Third, accounting rate of return. So ARR calculates the return on investment based on accounting profits rather than cash flows. It has several examples, several advantages. It uses readily available accounting data. It is useful for financial statement analysis, and it assesses the profitability over the project's life. Limitations: it does not consider when cash flow occurred. It can be distorted by depreciation or policies, and it may not reflect true economic profitability. And let's talk about NPV. It measures the difference between present value of cash inflows and outflows. A positive NPV signals a profitable investment, as we have discussed earlier. So, it is more accurate measure of profitability as it considers time value of money. It includes all cash flows over the project's lifespan, and it is straightforward decision making. So, it is a profitable investment. Talk about its limitations. It changes can significantly impact results, so it is sensitive to discount rates. Complexity in predicting future cash flows, and thus it requires forecasting. So it may mislead when comparing projects of varying sizes or durations. So it is not ideal for comparisons. So let's talk about funding alternatives. First, debt financing. So borrowing funds from external sources with a commitment to repay with interest over time. So it has several examples. So it retains ownership as no equity is given up. There are tax benefits. The interest payments may reduce taxable income, and it helps in structured financial planning, fixed repayment plan. Disadvantages: even during financial downturns, it mandates repayments, and regular payments of impact liquidity, and the rates vary based on credit worthiness, as you can see on your screen. Short-term loans. These are basically the loans repaid within a short period, generally under a year, and it is used for operational needs. So it's ideal for immediate financial needs. Uh, It can fund payroll, inventory, or other expenses, and it is cheaper than long-term goals. Disadvantages: it can pressure cash flows. It can limit. It is limited compared to long-term options. It is over reliance. The over reliance can lead to financial strain. Internal funding. So it's, as you can see, used. It is so internal funding. It is used. It is more about using retained earnings or savings instead of external borrowing, right? So then it and equity financing. So it deals with raising funds by selling shares to investors and venture capitalists or through public offerings. So to conclude with, as you can see on your screen, we have calculated WACC of 7.14%, and it reflects current market conditions and capital costs. So NPV of 2.93 million pounds, which indicates strong value creation, and discounted payback of 3 years and 8 months, and it indicates it aligns with financial goals. So when we used WACC of 18%, it was based on outdated financial conditions. The NPV was lower, 606k pounds. It is still positive but less attractive than the WACC of 7.14%. The discounted payback was 4 years and 7 months, and it is also showing a slower recovery. So less the payback period, the more lucrative the project would be. To summarize, net present value, it was when the WACC was 7.14%, it was 2.93 million, and which indicates strong value creation. At 18% WACC, it was NPV was 606k. It's still positive but less appealing. And payback period, simple payback period was 3 years, but at the discounted rate of WACC 7.14%, it was 3 years and 8 months, and with WACC of 18%, it was 4 years 7 months. So, based on these findings, it is recommended to proceed with this investment. That means we can work on this package because of two reasons: financial viability. So, we have positive NPV and we have reasonable payback periods, even under higher WACC scenario. Second, strategic fit. So, it aligns with the company's expertise in luxury travel and demonstrates strong market potential. To conclude with, the investment is financially sound and strategically well positioned, making it a strong opportunity for the company. Thank you very much.